Welcome back. I'm excited to be here today with Rob Venkatesh, our CTO at Cloudera, and talking about a topic that's really top of mind for everyone in the world, right? Like the fastest growing application, or the fastest application for consumers in the history of the world is ChatGPT and generative AI. So excited to be talking about what enterprises are doing with AI, what they're going to be doing with LLMs, things like ChatGPT. So Ron, maybe we could start by talking about what do we see enterprises, not just consumers, but what do we see enterprises doing with AI today?
It's a good question. First off, thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah.
This is fun. In our customer base, right, we've seen very pervasive applications of AI, and the adoption of AI has been really broad-based. If you just take, for example, our top three verticals, right, if you take healthcare, for instance, we have customers who are doing a number of really interesting things like drug discovery, cancer research, right? Better patient outcomes. These are as mission critical as these scenarios get. And increasingly over the last 2 to 3 years, we have seen a number of them actually uptake AI in a pretty fundamental way, right? As they're seeing that to really bring the power of all of the data to the analytics that they're performing on the data for these complex scenarios, AI is extremely helpful for them in achieving their goals. If you think about financial services and the whole fintech space, that's again a really large vertical for us. We have some of the largest banks of the planet, not just in the US, but across the world, who rely on our technology. So there we're seeing all the canonical use cases, of course, like fraud detection and so forth. But it's increasingly, even in this space, right, they're starting to look at conversational applications, chatbots, things of that nature to interact with their consumers. And all of that is powered by the data that's in CDP and served through our AI and ML platform. The third one I want to touch upon is telcos, right? Especially with 5G and the amount of data that gets collected and processed at the edge, right? So there is a lot of real-time network analytics that's happening at the edge. So it's, traditionally you think of AI and you think of some extremely niche application. Increasingly, we are seeing hundreds, if not thousands, of AI use cases that are being deployed by our customers across the customer base, actually.
And what's unique about Cloudera that enables customers to build these AI applications?
It's really simple, actually. If you think about, so AI without data is like a car without wheels, right? It looks nice, but it's not going to go anywhere, right? And so it's really some of the largest data estates on the planet are sitting inside Cloudera, inside CDP, right? So one of the important things that we enable for our customers is that we give them access to all of this data, not just from relational applications or BI analytics, but also for all of their AI applications. So serving the data that they need. The second piece there is serving it in a way that's appropriate for an enterprise use case. The use cases that I was talking about, you're not making movie recommendations or book recommendations. You're talking about cancer research, right? So when they get to an outcome or a finding, they need to be able to tie that back to how did I get this result? What data set did I use, right? Who was actually, which process or job or model produced the score, right? And I need to be able to do that not just in real time, but 18 months later when the FDA auditor comes along, I need to be able to show this entire provenance or traceability of how I got here. This takes sort of explainable AI to a whole new level. So with our data governance capabilities, that's what they can really do. So well-governed, secure, enterprise-ready AI on top of all of the data that they have. If I were to wrap it up, that's the value proposition of running AI analytics on top of CD.
What about portability? There's been a lot of press lately about machine learning workloads, AI workloads in the cloud, and the cost of that, and should it be on-prem or cloud? I was talking to a customer the other day, in fact, you might have been with me, that this customer runs exclusively in the public cloud, but he said he envisions a future where they have a data center just for AI workloads.
Correct. AI workloads are very interesting. I do remember there was a funny conversation where, I think this customer managed to spend a year's budget in a month running an experiment in the public cloud, right? So a couple things that make AI interesting when it comes to compute resources is there's a very heavy reliance on GPUs, right? So there's reliance on modern processing technology. So I think for this reason, experimentation in the public cloud is actually really compelling because you can try out this hardware before you are really sure if you're going to commit to that use case or not. However, once you have a use case identified, then it's all about making sure that the unit economics make sense. Which this is where the portability that we offer, Cloudera machine learning, what's really unique about our approach is that the entire tool set looks the same regardless of where it's running. In fact, if you bring up a CML workspace and you're looking at a CML project, you can't tell the difference whether it's running on-premise or whether it's running in public cloud. So when you think about portability in this context, it's not just portability of the engine or portability of the data. I mean, we do that too, but it's really about portability of the skill set for these data scientists and citizen data scientists who are using the platform, right? So for this constituency, not having to retrain themselves when they move this use case from public cloud to on-premise, that's really huge. And so it's that kind of portability that enables our customers to experiment where it's appropriate and to run in production where it's appropriate. And it's okay to change your mind. They might actually deploy this on-premise, and 3 months later, they realize that we would have been better off running this use case maybe on a different public cloud.
Yeah.
And they can go do that with the capabilities that we offer for them from a portability standpoint.
Yeah, I think it's critically important for customers, whether it's training on-premise and deploying in the cloud, or sometimes vice versa, right? Depending on the cost constraints that they have. So let's talk about kind of the hot topic today, large language models.
I was wondering when you were...
So what's your perspective on large language models? How do you see that flowing into the enterprises? Have you heard about enterprises already adopting them?
I think it's really, natural language processing and large language models. This is really a renaissance of a lot of this technology that's been around for a little while. But the way that it's packaged up in that easy to consume conversational model, that's a true game changer for the consumer. It's always nice to think about it like from your end customer, how are they going to get value out of everything that we are providing for them, right? As we were talking about some of our customers, these are some of the largest telcos on the planet, some of the largest banks on the planet. They also have among the largest customer bases out there.
Yeah.
So if you're serving, hundreds of thousands or actually millions of subscribers, right? I think that conversational model that ChatGPT enables, that is going to be so much more easier for them. It can be in the languages, not just English, but all the languages, the local languages that they're used to, right? It has all of the context about that customer. It's an extremely natural interaction. It will lower the barrier for their consumers to do really complex things that they want to from a capability standpoint. So it enables customers to be more productive in a self-service way, which means that the entire value chain there, we can take advantage of the benefits that come from that. So in that sense, I think conversational analytics is going to be a game changer for our customers. I don't think this is a bold prediction at all. I think in the next 12 to 18 months, I expect more than 80% of our customers, especially the ones with large consumer bases, are going to be deploying a chat application of some kind. With that context, what we do for these customers, again, is natural language processing and chat. This is one application where it's really valuable to be able to analyze all of your data. Yeah. Right? Typically, in a relational context, there's this data pyramid, right? Where you have a bunch of raw data that you ETL and you never see again, and it's the top of the pyramid that you're running SQL queries on. Natural language processing doesn't work that way, right? So this is where traditionally we've had high-value data sitting in our data lakes, but it's been hard to transform them into interactive analytics in real time, right? So I'm talking about, unstructured data, your emails, your documents, your Slack messages. How much of our company's context would be in that, right? So it's not just the transactional data that we've always had access to, but it's all of this semi-structured and unstructured data. And now with ChatGPT and technologies like that, customers can get value over all of their data. So that's really exciting. The second piece is, I think that this space has a lot of flux in it right now. Every day there's a new language model, there's a new way to fine-tune a model, there's a new way to build an application that's going to implement a chat scenario. That kind of agility means that customers need the flexibility to deploy multiple engines. They need to be able to experiment with multiple tools. They need to be able to make mistakes and then roll back and say, okay, this was actually more suitable for this type of an application. So that kind of experimentation requires an open architecture where you're not locked in.
Yeah.
So I think our open lakehouse really is a nice, convenient place for our customers to perform this kind of analytics, confident that they're not locking themselves into one cloud or one way of analyzing the data.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. 10 years ago when we were, in the early days of Big Day, we saw people doing disruptive, transformative things with their data that we never thought possible. True. And it feels like we're on the precipice of another renaissance, as you said, with AI ML to do things again that that heretofore weren't possible. So
Exactly.
Extremely exciting times ahead. So Ram, I appreciate your time today and look forward to talking more about the future of generative AI and what Cloudera is doing to enable our customers to enable this 12 to 18 month vision you talked about.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Take care.